Well, welcome everyone. This is Carol Livingston. I'm the owner of Dynamics Connections. And I think looking at the list of people in the chat, I see we have most everybody I think I know here. But if I don't know you, I'm Carol Livingston. And today we're going to go over our program at Dynamics Connections and how we can help you connect with more Microsoft and Acumatica VARs. That's what we do is we help ISVs connect with those VARs. So our agenda today, a little bit about us, our values, our team, and I like to kind of cover the marketplace, what we know at least today. Also some program updates that we're making in 2026. And actually you guys are the first to hear about what those changes are. So thank you for joining. I'll talk a little bit about our clients. I've got a quick testimonial video of past ISVs and clients. And then also, I like to go through kind of the proof, right? We have a proven track record. I like to show you our metrics. We just finished our spring semester debriefs, and we're going through all of those metrics in this call today, and then our pricing and next steps. So who are we? So Dynamics Connection. So we really consider ourselves like a matchmaker, helping ISVs connect with personal introductions to Dynamics and Acumatica VARs. We do that through educational sessions, targeted research, and again, we have a proven track record in the SMB channel. How we do that again is through education. I have one-on-one meetings with multiple VARs every quarter. Once a month, we also have a webinar, which is kind of what I call my makeup session. And we educate the partners. I feel like that's what I love about what I do is educating people and sharing about what makes each of the ISVs unique and how they can add value. If they raise their hand, we do introductions. We also provide you with those contacts, the lead sheets every week of everybody I met with during that week. So a little bit about us. So actually, Dynamics Connections was started in August of 2017. We just hit our 8th-year anniversary, and it was started by Kim Peterson, and she was a veteran in the Microsoft space. But kind of the big part about that is I used to sit in these calls, the calls with Dynamics Connections with my team to learn about ISVs. And as a partner, I really felt it was valuable to hear about ISVs in this space. We since 2017, and these are some overall metrics, we've presented 198 ISVs, and half of those have been returning ISVs or clients. We also have an audience of over 180 ERP VARs in Dynamics and Acumatica. And one thing that was kind of neat, I was looking at some of our metric sheets, and I was like, gosh, we've met with over 5,100 people over the last 8 years. That's a lot of meetings with individuals. So we included that here, and we've generated over 10,000 total leads. So I'll explain that here in a minute. What is a warm lead? What is a hot lead? But kind of total leads, what we feel are either they raise their hand, maybe they have a sales ready opportunity, or they're just never heard of you before. So over 10,000 leads we've generated. Of those, 2,500 were hot leads. So that's about 25%. So what is a hot lead? It simply is if I meet with a partner, they raise their hand, they say, I want more information. We consider that a hot lead. So, and the other kind of neat little average, because I get this question a lot, what can we expect? Well, we generate an average of 500 leads per semester in kind of our bigger program. And that averages down to about 55 leads per ISV in a 6-month semester. So, and again, 55%, and I'm very proud of this, of our past clients have used our program more than once. So a little bit about our value. So really my vision is to be the best and most well-informed resource in the space on ISVs for VARs. I want them to feel like they can come to me. I'm a trusted resource. I give them recommendations and help them connect with the right ISVs. So that is our vision. Our mission is connecting VARs with the most relevant Dynamics and Acumatica ISVs. And previous to 2026, we really have focused on the SMB market and products and services. Now, again, we do that through targeted research and personalized introductions. We also, there's our team. I wanted you to meet the team. Of course, myself, Carol Livingston, Brian Livingston, he's my husband. He does all our marketing and videos. When we have our ISV Talk videos, you might have seen those podcast interviews. He does all of the editing on our video content and helps with marketing, press releases, and things. We added Gina Knight this year. I'm very excited to have her join our team. She's done an awesome job on communicating with our partners and helping to generate more contacts and leads through our LinkedIn newsletters. That's something that she's helped us start, and other just marketing communications. And she's done an amazing job. So thank you, Gina. Also, just like to share a little bit about the marketplace. So let's talk about dynamics first. If you're here also to think about Acumatica, I have a kind of both perspectives. So the dynamics marketplace, just a little bit about the opportunities. We've got active partners, probably more than 3,300 VARs. That was as of 2021. Directions EMEA had announced that that's how many partners in the Business Central space. At Inspire, now you can see the growth here. At Inspire, they said that they had at that time, 2022, 2,200 certified ISV applications. I don't know what the number is exactly, but if you go out to AppSource today, you're going to find more than 7,000 apps listed on AppSource. That is amazing growth, but also that's a whole lot of ISVs to wade through if you need to find a specific solution. Now, one thing about the number of customers, so July last year, Microsoft and the Business Central group announced that they had over 40,000 Business Central customers. Kind of an update to that, you can see this top slide. At Directions North America, they announced that now they're at 45,000 Business Central online customers. So, and they continue to be the fastest growing segment. The Business Central group is the fastest growing in the business solutions space. On Dynamics GP partners, we still have probably several hundred VARs out there. I know in our database, we have probably, I don't know, over 150, 160 VARs. And that's what actually 6, 7 years ago when we started, we actually were working with the VARs in the dynamic space that did work with GP. And since then, now a lot of them also carry Business Central, F&O, and other products. There's probably more than 150 ISVs. I think that ecosystem was pretty robust at one time. And there's probably over 30,000 active customers. So there's a lot of debate about what is the actual number. I've heard as low as 14,000. A Microsoft insider told me they have 50,000 GP customers in their database. Are they all active? I don't know. But that kind of gives you a benchmark of what Microsoft has. So kind of the ISV community, when we've talked, we've kind of come up with an estimate of 30,000. I don't know if that's right or not, but my partners and the number of customers they have, that could be right. So the role of ISVs is companion products to the ERP. So now VARs do understand the value of ISVs are extremely important to add value, fill gaps. Even on Business Central, I know a lot of people are like, oh, Business Central is so complete, you don't need an ISV. And that's sometimes the case. That's got functionality built in, but there's still a need for maybe Microsoft did enough to check a box, but they didn't necessarily make it meet everybody's needs, right? It's just sort of for the masses, right? To say that they do it. Business Central partners are understanding the value. What I did find a couple years ago, when we started getting more and more Business Central ISVs in our program, is the nav partners that they were traditionally used to customizing everything, programming, customizing it, and tailoring the nav for the customers. As they started moving into the Business Central space, they started realizing it probably makes a lot more sense just to get an app, right? Or customers were finding that apps could fill those gaps. So they're understanding that value. GP partners, there's a lot of them still out in the marketplace, but they're now asking for those BC ISVs and wanting to know those. And we also have a lot of other ISVs entering from other ecosystems, from Sage, from Acumatica. So we're seeing a lot of overlap, a lot of crossover from other ecosystems. And then in the Acumatica space, if you're interested in Acumatica, we also work with that market in that channel. But there's probably over 350 active partners today. Some numbers, I know they announced at Acumatica Summit in 2023, they had 10,000 customers that they had reached. The following year, they said they had 37% growth. So I'm guessing then, maybe in early 2024, they had 13,000. I haven't seen an updated number or growth, so I'm guessing they're probably getting close to 15,000 customers. So it is growing pretty fast. And there are over 200 ISVs listed in the marketplace. There's probably at least 100 or more. I know I keep running into people that want to get listed on the marketplace, but they have raised the requirements. So you have to get through some, like, get some referrals. You have to have a product manager at the company represent you and say yes, that does fill a need. So there's a lot of ISVs that are not yet listed in the marketplace. So kind of with that tightening, they kind of eliminated some of the people that said, yes, we can do Acumatica, but weren't really keeping that up to date and current. So I think that was a good thing, but then it kind of weeded out people that weren't really keeping current with Acumatica. So that marketplace is really kind of the showcase for certified ISVs, I guess is what you can call them. They call them always current now, but and then Acumatica partners do understand the value of ISVs. In fact, what I find is there's a lot of overlap with the Dynamics world, and of course the Dynamics world and GP and everywhere. We have a very vibrant ecosystem. So there is a understanding the value of the ISVs. They do build a lot of things into Acumatica. I'm always impressed with their updates of what they've included, but they still need a very robust ecosystem there. And of course, ERP partners asking for Acumatica ISVs, especially if they're moving from maybe one channel to another. And we've got other ISVs entering the Acumatica space. So I see probably half of the partners and ISVs coming from Dynamics and maybe a good number from the Sage ecosystem. So those are kind of the two areas that feed the Acumatica growth. And then just marketing through the partner channel in the Acumatica space. So one metric I heard, and I don't have an actual number, but kind of the sentiment is ISVs who have worked with a partner and the partner brings them an opportunity, you get a higher close rate with those opportunities. So it makes a lot of sense for ISVs and partners to work together. You also get that multiplier effect, and this applies to Dynamics too. If most partners have, say, 100 to 200 customers, instead of you trying to direct market to them, you could be working with that partner, and then they become your sales force in general, working with those clients, recommending your solutions to them. And then that partner to partner model, too. I've seen a lot of collaboration. Several ISVs a lot of times work together to solve bring a solution to customers. So that helps reach more customers. And kind of a little bit of news, I didn't know where to put it, but maybe you weren't aware that Acumatica, the software publisher, was acquired in May of this year, 2025, by Vista Partners. And Vista Partners, they invest in technology companies. They're in the Northwest, very well known, kind of not angel investor, but one of the private equity investors. And one of the other ISVs you probably know is Avalara. They're also owned by Vista Partners. So yeah, so I think it could be a good thing, although a lot of times there are changes that you see when they get investors that get involved, like streamlining some things, making them more effective and efficient. But I do see it as a good thing with getting additional investment in their company. So, what are some of the challenges? So, as ISVs, I know it's really hard sometimes to get those VARs' attention, right? Especially if you're in a field that's very competitive, where you've got lots of competitive choices in the marketplace. And what I find is that one of the reasons people join our program is they don't know the VAR or the contacts, right? So they're trying to meet more VARs or more contacts at that VAR to kind of drill in and get deeper. And VARs are really busy. They don't respond. They don't show up to your webinars. They don't answer email. One thing about our program that makes it unique is that I actually have those regular quarterly calls with them. I know them personally. I see them at conferences. And so they do tend to attend my meetings when they don't necessarily respond to your email about new things. So it gives you another way to touch base with them. Also, VARs themselves, a lot of times they don't read those emails. You're sending marketing updates. Hey, what's new? Maybe you have a new version or compatible with a new ERP or just even updates. There's exciting new modules or offerings. They don't always know about those. And then it's just in general, sometimes just hard to generate opportunities with VARs. I feel like that is the number one challenge. Is there's definitely an opportunity when you work with a VAR to get their help in presenting your solutions to their clients, but sometimes it's hard. But again, going back to that metric that somebody quoted to me, that in their space anyway, they saw that when an opportunity was brought to them from a partner, it always had a higher chance of closing, right? So what can you do, right? So if you look at other lead generating services or even working on your own, right, to reach out to those VARs, let's start with working on your own, right? You maybe don't have new contacts. Maybe the contact list you is out of date with people moving frequently between companies. We do find it's hard to keep up, find the main contact, and even if they have gotten acquired, say. So that is just kind of a constant, right? Working on your own, keeping up with those changes and contacts. Partners don't return your calls, LinkedIn messages, or emails. Maybe you have marketing activities or partner events, webinars. They don't always attend those events. And there are other lead generating services. There's paid listing services. Again, they're kind of going to the masses, right? It could be end users, it could be a partner, maybe even not even your target, right? Who you're trying to reach. And with Dynamics Connections, so what we offer is we have those quarterly meetings pre-arranged with VARs on our calendar. If you looked at my calendar, you would see probably 5 to 7 meetings a week that I have scheduled for kind of Dynamics program. I have Documatica programs and others as well, but I have those regular meetings and I work really hard to make sure that those meetings stick, that if we can't meet this week, we reschedule it. So I work a couple times to get them to reschedule. And if not, then I invite them to our monthly makeup session, our webinar. You get 2 unique messages. So we work together in a 6-month program. So there's what we call a quarter 1 and a quarter 2. So what that means is I have those quarterly pre-arranged meetings, right? So that means I meet with them twice during that 6-month period. So we get actually 2 chances to talk about, maybe introduce your solutions, talk about what's new, and educate the partners about your solution and how you're unique. Non-competing ISVs per semester. So within a program, I don't have competing topics, and you'll see a video here in a minute where people said they had to wait. I really do work hard to try to make sure our topics don't overlap. So you're getting your topic for that entire semester without competing with someone else. Exclusive offers to VAR. So we do ask in our presentations that I do, and I do the presentations, so I'm representing you in those calls, but I do encourage you to think about an exclusive offer because it does give the partner a reason to attend our meeting, right? They attend, they also get maybe something that they wouldn't get if they had found you directly. You also get a listing on our ISV library, which now has moved to our website. So you get that listing even past the 6-month program. I don't take that listing down. You remain on our website as a valued ISV. We also have our leads listing, which I mentioned earlier. I send out that weekly report once a week of everybody I met with. It includes the warm leads, the hot leads, and even those contacts that may be already familiar with you. And a proven track record. We've done this for over 8 years. So we have lots of metrics. I'll show you some here just to give you a sense. I get that question a lot, is like, do you have like some idea of what we would get from joining your program? So I can give you an idea of what we've had based on our performance. Also, contacts on LinkedIn. We have over 3,800 LinkedIn connections, and that's growing. And then on our mailing list, we have over 2,100 professionals. And we take those connections we really curate those, because I'm not just looking for any connection, right? I'm looking for people who would find value from being connected to our program or learning through us about the ISV. So our community is very specific on who we're targeting on our connections and our contact list. So what are the types of ISVs that work with us? So you're typically going to see the 3 types of ISVs that work with Dynamics Connections. So first, we usually have the ones that cross over ecosystems. So we might have on-prem solutions that are also available still, but then those clients are migrating to a cloud ERP. Many ISVs are moving from other ERP ecosystems like Sage, NetSuite into the Dynamics space or Acumatica space. So we have ISVs going into Acumatica. That's the other across the ERP I see a lot. And just ISVs are trying to fill those product gaps. So again, like I said, Acumatica has a very robust solution, but on some things, like say payroll, it's not the best, right? They have enough to check a box to do a basic payroll, but maybe not more than that. Smaller, newer. Again, I find I have a lot of success on ones that are maybe just coming into the ecosystem. Maybe they're coming from international locations and they're trying to meet partners. So they need introductions to the partners. So it's an affordable way for them to do that channel marketing. In some sense, I like to think of myself as a fractional business development rep or BDR. So they don't have resources to hire someone, I kind of become that resource for them and for small or newer ISVs. And then established ISVs. So on the other side is that we have a lot of well-known established ISVs, but then they add new products. Maybe they add new ERP compatible versions or new features, and it's hard to get that message in front of those partners, right? A lot of times I have people will have new features. That's a good time to come back. Or maybe they just periodically come back because they want to keep their solutions top of mind to the VARs. And then also, I do see a lot of acquisitions, rebranding, name changes. That's another good reason is, hey, we merged with this company or we rebranded. And that's always a good way to help educate the partners about that name and brand name change so they can find you when they need to reach out. So you guys are the first group to hear this. Our new changes for 2026. So currently, this is what we offer. We currently have 3 programs. So we have our Business Central only, which we started about a year and a half ago. It's a smaller set of target Business Central VARs. Then we had a combined Business Central and GP session, and that's the program that we've been running the longest. That semester started out as just GP partners because it was before Microsoft had launched Business Central. So it has a big group there of BC and GP partners. And then Acumatica. So that started again about a year and a half ago. We started that at the same time we expanded into Business Central as its own topic. So what I found is that you can see it's a little confusing. So which program should I join? I'm interested in BC. I'm only a BC ISV. Should I pick the BC only, the bigger group, which has both GP partners and Business Central? I feel like it was always hard to explain and people were confused. And so I thought I'm going to shift this to really in 2026 to just be targeting 4 programs around the topic. So no matter who's involved, as far as the VARs, we are going to have now 4 distinct products. So we're going to separate out GP and Business Central. So they'll have their own distinct and targeted semesters. And then we've also added, and this is brand new, finance and supply chain. I've had many years where I've gone to events and partners also carry products for finance and supply chain and practices around that. So this year we decided it's time to add that and to expand in the Microsoft Dynamics ISVs that we work with. And then, of course, we still continue with growing our Medica program. So why did we make the change? So I kind of alluded to that, but a lot of the VARs are seeking those cloud-based ERP solutions. And so they really want to understand how their clients can be supported going to the cloud. So with BC growing, we saw strong demand for those BC ISVs. GP VARs are still continuing to support their customers. Most of them I talk to feel like their customers are going to be around for longer than the end of support date that was announced by Microsoft. So they're still looking for ISVs or at least help to modernize their systems and offer a path to the cloud ERPs. We also, again, have had a lot of requests from the enterprise VARs and ISVs asking us to add the finance and supply chain topics. So we're excited to finally make that happen. And then, of course, we want to align with Microsoft announced this year in 2026 fiscal year, their new organization title, which is AI Business Solutions, and all of those evolving priorities. We wanted to align with that and what Microsoft is doing. So a little bit about our clients. I know this is a busy chart, but this is our past clients, past and current. The one thing I'm most proud of is that we've had over 55% of our ISV clients use our program more than once. So maybe they used us every other year, or maybe they have new products and they come back. But I'm really proud of that people feel confident and understand our program and the value we bring. And I do like to show who was in our program in spring and fall. And keep this in mind. This was our 3 programs versus our new 2026. But just to give you an idea, this was our Business Central and GP semester. We had, I think, 9 in that program. And again, if you look here, the topics don't overlap. So if I have someone who signs up for the AR automation and payments, I don't let anybody else in. It's kind of first come, first serve, right? And we do try to find a balance. I do go to conferences, I listen to partners, they make recommendations. So I'm always trying to add some new topics to provide kind of some interest and also some variety for our partners. So I'm always excited. My challenge is to find an ISV that they haven't heard about, right? But you can see here, this is who we had. The Business Central only, again, that was a smaller group of partners and a smaller group of ISVs. In the spring, we had only 3, and we had a spot for 5. But this fall, we actually filled all 5. So you'll see that here in a minute. But this is who we had. And again, these are BC only topics. We had our Acumatica group in the spring. So we had these 4. Again, yes, everything from tax, AP automation, payroll, warehouse management. Now, fall, this is where we are currently running our program right now. It started for most everybody August 1st, and you can see the topics here. So we had some unique products like BigCommerce connector with XPR 365, batch processing and manufacturing, mobile warehousing, licensing services. So I'm always trying to find some new topics to present. And then our Business Central only this fall. Again, we have all 5 spots full. And we had reporting, we have AR, AP. Usually AR and AP are really popular. Those spots go fast. So I usually have those signed up way in advance because, again, it's first come, first serve. And then our Acumatic solutions that we're presenting right now. So you can see that we have, I'll just kind of rotate back here. You might notice that like we have vivid reports in both our Business Central and Acumatica. And sometimes those are different partners and different contacts. So it makes a lot of sense to maybe bundle or do 2 programs at the same time and reach those partners in either ecosystems. Now, if you want to learn more about what of my past clients say about our program, I encourage you to go to our website under the resource tab, drop down to the ISV endorsements, and you can view some of these other testimonials. But I want to play a little short video that's kind of a group of my past clients here. And they're also talking about how they had to wait because of the exclusive category.
We were so excited to work with them that we signed on, I don't remember if it was 8 months or 9 months, but way in advance to make sure that we were locked in for AP automation.
There's a rule the Dynamics Connection team follows that will not allow competing interests to be represented at the same time. So we had to wait. So we decided to engage for the next semester, only to find out that our competitor was ahead of us again and had already booked that semester as well. So we put our deposit down to join the program the following year, and that's the spring semester of this year.
We wanted to start this actually a few years back, but because of some schedules, my travel and some conflict, we were not able to do it. But I wish we had done this maybe 3 years back. When we introduced a couple of our new products, then we would have easily penetrated into the market at that time.
We've seen so many new partner contacts, we've had so many introductory meetings, and we've already signed 2 new clients just out of the gate and getting started here. So ROI out the roof.
I can tell you that the experience has been fantastic. They really guide you through the entire process from start to finish. They help you build out your materials, your marketing materials. They even helped us with our aesthetics of our deck. And it's just been an amazing experience. The thing that surprises me, I think, the most is just the volume of connections you actually get in this program.
Already seeing a lot of introductions happening on a weekly basis. So we get introduced to quite a few partners. If you wanted to increase your partner network, I think the Dynamics Connections is the best place to start with if you wanted to grow or get that quick start with a bunch of partners which Dynamics Connections already have relations.
I'm Carol Livingston of Dynamics Connections, and we have a policy that each of our ISV clients get the exclusive topic during their semester. So it is first come, first serve. So if a client is already signed up, we will ask you to wait until the following semester. And it is worth the wait, but I would encourage you to sign up early. A little bit of a taste of some of the testimonials kind of around that exclusive topic that we have. So, what does our services include? So, that's always the next question. I was like, okay, Carol, what do you do? So, we have those quarterly one-on-one meetings scheduled on our calendar. Every quarter, I have prearranged meetings and I do the presentation. So, you provide me a slide deck, I put it in my master deck, and then in that presentation, you get about 3 to 5 minutes where we're focusing on your solution. And I try to work really hard to help you craft that message around like what makes you unique or what message do you want me to communicate to reach those VARs. Also, if they raise their hand at the end of that one-on-one meeting and they say, yes, Carol, I want more, I always give them an opportunity. And if they don't, I still send them a meeting summary. So that's a list of all of the ISVs I presented, your contact information, links to your website, any special offers that you have. I also send my clients at the end of the week what I call lead sheets and a report card. So the lead sheet is just a simple listing of all of the clients or all the VAR contacts I met with during that week and their responses. One of the things you'll see here in a minute is the lead sheet and what that looks like on a weekly basis. We also host a podcast called ISV Talk. So during our semester, if you haven't been in our program before, we'll schedule an interview during the 6-month program and interview you. And it is a conversation. It's not a PowerPoint. It's not a demo. It is really an introduction of your solutions, how you guys are unique, customer case studies or success stories that you have where you've helped partners and clients meet some needs. And we help with social media promotion. So, we do now welcome posts at the beginning of the semester. We do an introduction of, hey, who's here? We're presenting this coming education sessions coming up. And we do individual welcome posts. So it kind of highlights each of the clients that are in that fall or spring semester. We also added an events calendar to our website for not only our scheduled events or webinars, but also your events. We also are doing countdown to events. We've added a newsletter. So we're doing a lot more around the social media promotion to help represent you and your solutions to our audience. You do get that listing on the ISV library. So that's a partner only portal that you have to register for. It's on our website. And so we do find that partners do sign up and do research through our ISV library. So we encourage you to think about that as one of the benefits that continues to live on even past the 6-month program. And the partner index. So that's a company that I partner with. I don't have a business relationship with them, but we find it mutually beneficial for our clients to try their listing. And that is a ISV listing and partner listing. You get no charge listing for 6 months, and that's over a $600 value. Should update that. It's probably more like $750. They increase their price, but you get the highest level of listing that they have available. They call that their diamond listing. And then we, of course, do an onboarding process. So prior to the semester beginning, 2 months approximately before we start working together to gather the information, craft the PowerPoint, put together the ISV library listing, and more. We just kind of get you ready, get your processes ready. And then after the end of the semester, I do what I call a final debrief. And that wrap-up process is really reviewing the metrics. We're just kind of in the midst of finishing that up for our spring clients. Now, what's the follow-up that I do? So once I meet with a partner, they're going to get a summary email like this. That it gives them contact information. You can see I kind of branded it with a logo. I've got your 100-word company description. I've got any special offers or links to your websites, or if you've got a webinar you want to promote, I'm happy to include those. But everybody always gets a summary and a list of all of the contacts. On the ISV side, you're going to get a weekly lead sheet. It looks somewhat like this, along with what I call a report card. The lead sheet has a list of all the partners I met with that week and their contact information. I think this is probably the thing I would be most excited about if I were participating, but on the list of partners I met with, you're getting a list of all the contacts I met with, their company, their titles. Sometimes I have little notes about them. If they're kind of the lead for ISV contacts, I'll indicate that or put a little note here, their email, contact information, and then also about their partnership, I also do have like how many clients they carry by product, also in the non-dynamic space. So there's a lot of great intel and information you're getting. And then alongside that, this is where I'm adding the lead sheet notes for that week. So if I met with more than one person from that company, you're going to see the notes are on one of the people that attended that meeting. And the ones that are what I call a warm lead, those leads are color coded here in green. If they're a hot lead, like they raise their hand, you should have gotten an introduction email sent as well during that week. But that would be color coded in blue. Let's see if I can find a blue one. Yeah, there's a couple. And you can see that there's some valuable notes. I mean, as I'm meeting with them, I'm taking down notes and writing down things on a little cheat sheet here, and then I put those on our weekly report card. So you're getting a lot of good information. You're getting some intel. Sometimes we find out, hey, who's their kind of main competitor they go to, and so forth. So you can see on the sheet here, this is just an example of what that lead sheet looks like that I showed you. We also have our ISV library, and that is right on our website. So if you go to dynamicsconnections.com, you can go ahead and register. You don't have to be a partner, but we try to make it exclusive. So there's a little bit of you have to log in, get a profile, but it is really nice. I really am happy with this because you can do searches based on the channel or the product category. And then once you open up one of those listings, like here, you can see we opened up the Aptian, so you can see a little bit more. If you scroll down, it'll have contact information. If you're in a marketplace like Sage, Acumatica, or AppSource, we'll put the links there as well. And again, that listing continues after the semester. So you still continue to be listed. Partner Index, this is the other website that you get a free listing. So you can try that out as well. It's thepartnerindex.com, and you're getting the diamond listing, which actually has the most services available. We help you kind of set up a basic listing in there, and then you can claim that listing and add more content to it. And there are reports and things that you can review through the back end. So I talked about like onboarding and offboarding, kind of our wrap up. This is pretty important to me because I want you to understand we guide you through the process. I don't just throw a bunch of things at you and say, hey, get us this by this due date. We work together and we meet periodically, maybe every couple of weeks leading up to the semester. But I do have a guide that shows you everything about our program, the processes we use, and our suggested follow-up for you to get some successful contacts through our program and then what to do with them next. Because you do need to have a follow-up process after I send you these leads or contacts or introductions. Now we do a final debrief or kind of a wrap up. And like I said, I'm just finishing up for the spring. So for each semester program, I review the overall results for the group, and then I provide you individual results. And we kind of go through that in a little bit more detail one-on-one because I want to think about what did we learn? Is there good feedback here? Something that we could take away for next time or even now as you kind of finish up our program for that 6-month period. And we do often pull these reports out and look at them when you sign up again. Kind of look at what did we learn and is there anything we want to carry forward in the new semester that you join. So VARs are ready to meet ISVs. They join our program because we help them not waste time, right? We help them find those ISVs that are going to provide value for their clients. So what are our results here? So I'm going to kind of just breeze through some of these. Kind of overall, I always, at the end of our 6-month semesters, I stop and do a count of who's active in our program. So how many VARs carry GP, Business Central, F&O, NAV, etc., and how many clients do they have. So you can kind of see here, we still are pretty heavy with Dynamics GP partners, although our Business Central partners are growing, and we have at least 10 more of ours that are planning to go into Business Central in the future. So every time I look at this gap is getting a lot smaller. Every 6 months, we see that growing. But of course, we also now will be carrying finance and supply chain, and also we have Acumatica. I don't have the chart here for that, but Now, the industry. So, this is another question I got. So, I added a chart because you asked for it. But what typical industries do the partners carry? So, I do track the industries on my lead sheet. So, I go through and I kind of look at this. So, as of the spring semester that we just completed, you can see here that most of our partners are in the supply chain and manufacturing area. That's not surprising for SMB. Not for profit is probably the next highest, professional services, healthcare, financial services, construction, field service, and so on. So this gives you a we're kind of heavy on the SMB VARs that work with supply chain and manufacturing. And roles. So again, who attends your meetings? So this is a breakdown, and I haven't updated it as of spring, but it doesn't change that much. But in terms of who attends our meetings, we have consultants, we have sales, pre-sales solution architects, client success managers who are typically meeting or representing their clients that are already existing clients, biz dev, we've got owners, principals, VP, and directors. But I'd say we've got a pretty heavy concentration of sales and consultants that attend our calls. On the Acumatica side, it's kind of a similar chart to that one on who carries what. I like to look at this on the Acumatica side because I do have overlap. So when we look at the number of partners that are active in our GP program or our Business Central topics, we do have an overlap. So partners a couple years ago started carrying another product in the cloud, right? And Microsoft had not had formal launch of a cloud-based ERP. So there was Intact, there was Acumatica, and NetSuite that were already in the marketplace. So when I looked at now, I know which partners carry Acumatica or Intact or NetSuite. It was just a numbers thing. You can see here I have over 100 partners in our program that also carry Acumatica. And we're just targeting 30, so we have plenty of room just to grow within our VARs that we already work with in Dynamics. But I am meeting, I go to the Acumatica Summit. I do have partners that we've added that are focusing on Acumatica and say NetSuite or Sage. So they're not in the Dynamics ecosystem. So we do bring you, if you're in the Dynamics space, new partners. Some key metrics, and I'll send you these slide decks so you can review them. But again, we just finished up our spring 2025 semester. And kind of the breakdown overall is that we had an average number of leads of 55 leads per ISV in the spring. And that was kind of our bigger program, which will become our BC program. We had 100, almost 100 unique companies, but 188 actual meetings because between quarter one and quarter two, we had 188 total. And when I filtered that down, we had 96 unique. And that averages out to about 31 meetings per month. We had almost 300 people that heard it. And again, if you look at the number of professionals or sales reps that attend those calls, we probably typically have 1 to 2 people per meeting attend. On the Business Central side, similar kind of presentation, but a smaller group of partners. We had 47 company meetings, 7 of our meetings on average per month. This program is actually going to get folded into our main semester that we're going to continue doing. So this is actually going to increase our numbers overall on that side. And then we'll have a specific GP session. So some of this is going to shift as we go into 2026. And then, of course, Acumatica will continue. So these are sort of the leads that we generated. We had kind of an average of 5 of our meetings. And again, with the BC and the Acumatica, I was targeting 30 to 35 partners to attend. And here we had 16 unique partners and we had 27 meetings. So we're getting there. Not quite, but we're getting there. And we did generate quite a few leads and hot leads for our partners. So again, I'll send you, again, I have lots of metrics, so I don't want to bore you, but that do have the breakdown of how many leads per ISV. And sometimes people enjoy looking at these because let's say you are in the AP automation space. So you want to see what other AP automation solutions have gotten that are similar to you, just to get you an idea what you might bring with your solution. And this was overall leads. We had 441 in our spring semester. I'd say our average has been around 400 to 500 leads for the entire semester in that program. On the Acumatica side, we're averaging about 55 leads for the entire semester. This is overall attendance. So again, with the bigger group, we had 188 Dynamics VAR meetings with the average of 31 meetings per month. This gives you a breakdown per month. On the Acumatica side, we had average of 5 meetings, 27 Acumatica VARs meetings that were scheduled. And then you heard me mention that we do have a makeup webinar. So once a month, I host a webinar for each of the semesters. And what happens is that people don't always get to attend the meeting with their team. So if they miss that meeting and I still hold the meeting with somebody who did attend, I'll just invite everybody else to the next monthly makeup session. And that webinar, I'm talking with the audience. I'm not actually interacting like we do in the one-on-one call, but I do track the webinar registrations, and you do get a full list of everybody that registered as well as attended. And that's our Acumatica. And one thing I do at the end of the program each 6 months is when I'm doing our final debrief and metrics, I look at the responses. Now I'm not looking at just those little leads on the lead sheet, right? Whether they said never heard of them or had an opportunity. I'm actually looking at all their responses. So this is kind of a breakdown. And what we had was 68% of the response said that they were new to the products that we presented here. And 32% had a prospect in mind or wanted some kind of follow up. On the Acumatica side, similar, we had 57% of the responses said they were new to them and 43% that had a prospect in mind. So, and I will send you all of these slides, so you'll have them. But again, I just want to emphasize we do have a proven track record. I could bore you with charts and graphs for ages. I love spreadsheets, but I try to highlight these just to show that we do have a proven track record, and we kind of give you an idea just so you can know what to expect and what kind of ROI. So 8 years of proven track record with leads, and we average about 55 leads per ISV in our Dynamics program. We generate that weekly lead sheet that I showed you and also just make more introductions. Again, I think that what I find with our program is helping you build that relationship. We open that door, we give you that warm introduction, and then beyond that, then it's kind of up to you to continue to nurture and grow that relationship. So we're helping you get those introductions with my contacts and the people that I work with in the VAR channel. So we have 2 programs. You've heard me talk about semesters and quarters. It just makes it easy to think about like kind of back to school, right? You got semesters and quarters at school, right? So we have what we call our spring, and then we have our fall program. Those are 6-month education programs that we run. In our kind of upcoming 2026, we decided we're going to have for our BC category, which we always seem to have more than enough. We have 10 categories. For our new finance and supply chain, we are opening up 10 categories. And for GP and the Acumatica semesters, we're going to have 5 categories. So you can see a list here of categories. And again, once those categories are taken, you get that exclusive topic for that 6-month program and that semester. So what are the details, Carol? What's the cost? So for 2026, you can see here our price for the Business Central. This one is going to continue to be our largest program. We're continuing to meet with the same partners we've been meeting with for 8 years. We're just focusing that topic on Business Central. So that's $17.50 per month for 6 months. And the program dates run from February 1st to July 26th. So it is 6 months, but kind of offset from a calendar 6 months. We do like to see everybody be enrolled a couple months in advance. So we can enroll people still last minute, but I like to start early because of holidays and things coming up. We'll start November 15th. So I want to start our onboarding by then. So you've got a couple months. I know you're probably sitting here thinking, well, I got to do some planning. I got to get the approvals. So hopefully this helps you with that. We are introducing a new program. We are adding the finance and supply chain, and we're doing an introductory price this first semester at $1,500 a month. And we're targeting 40 enterprise VARs in that program. The program dates are going to follow the same as our Business Central, and the enrollment dates are the same. Dynamics GP. So we've got a lot of legacy partners still interested in that topic, but it's a fewer and fewer out, right? So we're going to assume that we have at least 80 partners that would be interested in that program. So we're opening this up to 5 ISVs for a half-hour program. And we'll offset that. It'll start a little bit earlier just because I can't do everything at once. So one of them is going to start a bit early on January 2nd and go all the way through June. So the enrollment date on that one's a little bit earlier. And then, of course, Acumatica, which is, again, we're targeting 30 to 35 Acumatica VARs starting in February. Now, if you see a couple of these and you go, you know what, Carol, I work with a couple of these. Can I get a deal? We do offer a package deal. So you get a $250 discount for each additional program. So let's say you sign up for Business Central plus Acumatica, so you get those two combined package less $250. So, and if you're new to us and you haven't worked with our program, we do have a one-time setup fee. That does cover my costs for the time for the onboarding, the 2 months prior to get your ISV library set up, to work with you on the program materials, to help you with the ISV talk interview. So there's a lot of activities that we ask for a one-time setup fee for that. And then kind of next steps here is if you are interested, reach out to me, Carol at dynamicsconnections.com. We'll provide you a proposal or estimate on the cost. And then we would sign a memo of understanding. That's our agreement. And then we'll schedule the kickoff meeting, which if you sign up now, most likely it's either going to be October or November. So we've got a little bit of time. I know people are doing their budgets and their plans, but I'd love to get you signed up because as you see, the topics are exclusive, and that's usually the biggest pain point is just making sure you get your topic reserved ahead of time. So thank you for joining. If you do want specific information, please fill out this poll. All right. So thank you everyone for joining us on learning about our 2026 changes, which I'm very excited about. And I'm glad that you were able to join us today.